In this video, I show you how to follow along with the free pattern to make the white and dark chocolate crochet bunnies. Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the white chocolate bunny rabbit. Now the written instructions are on the website for free, but if you want to buy the pattern, you will get, let's see, my sketch that I did in Procreate of the bunny, and then that will have the numbers if you do better following charts. And also you will get, pull this up, the project tracker page for small projects. Oops. This looks similar to the project trackers in my project tracker books, and it's also available for free for download inside the pattern on the website, but it of course is included in the paid pattern. And because of how most of the rows are different, there are some that are repeats, like to make, I wanted the long neck and then in the ears and some of the body just to give it the right amount of height, like my favorite chocolate bunny that I get every year. But most of the rows are different, and this will help keep you on track with that. And then the written pattern is what I'm going to be following here in the tutorial. Pretty festive pink. Okay, so let's get started. Get your, I'm using cotton yarn, you don't have to, but I find that acrylic yarn gets a little bit frayed looking, fuzzy looking over time, which actually could be its own kind of charm. I'm not going to do all of the rows. I'm going to do the ones that are going to help you understand how to follow the instructions. So one thing I want to point out is, unless it says at the start to chain one, you do not chain one. So first we're going to chain 29. This is so cute. Easter is my favorite holiday, so I'm doing as many Easter crochet projects as possible. It's just such a precious, adorable holiday. Right, so on row 1, you'll skip that first chain and just single crochet across, and that will decrease it down to 28. Chain 29 and end up with 28 single crochet. I'm using a 4mm hook, pretty standard for this type of project. Alright, so now for row 2, we'll start by chaining 1, and this is a increase row. There's going to be an increase at the beginning and at the end. So in the first stitch, 2 single crochet. You can see here in the shape how the bottom flares out a bit. And then work across with 2 single crochet in the last stitch. So for this row, you'll be going from 28 stitches to a total of 30 stitches because of the increased stitch in the first and in the last stitch. I'm coming to the end of this row, row 2. And there's my last stitch. Make sure I'm getting both loops on the hook. I work 2 single crochet into this stitch. You see it has that little bit of a flare out on either side. Now the next row is just chain 1 and single crochet across. There's no increase or decrease. So row 3 will have 30 total stitches, just like row 2 did. And I'll come back and we will work row 4 together. All right, for row 4, it says work 2 decreases over the first 4 stitches. I'm going to turn. That means these first 4 will be decreased. So to decrease, I'm not going to chain 1, put my hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, go into the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. So now those first 2 stitches are decreased. Now the next 2, I'm going to do the same thing. Pull up a loop, next stitch, the 4th stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. So now those first 4 stitches have been decreased to 2 stitches. And then I will just finish single crocheting off the row, making this row a total of 28 stitches. So it went from 30 on the previous row, now it will be 28 stitches because of the decrease. Right now for row 5, this will be a decrease row, but it doesn't say decrease because you will not be crocheting stitches together to decrease. You will be stopping short by just not working the last stitch. And that's why it has a stitch count of how many to single crochet rather than a notation to decrease. So the row I just did, row 4, that's 28 total, and we need to decrease down to 27. So you'll chain 1, and then it says to single crochet 27 stitches. So count your 27 and leave the very last stitch unworked. Again, this is row 5. Okay, so coming up to the end, you see there's 2 stitches left. So this is the 28th stitch. I'm not going to work that. This is stitch number 27, and then I stop. Now for row 6, there is a decrease, so it's the first stitch. Turn, I'm going to not chain 1, just go in, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and then I'll finish the row. And this will go from the 27 stitches to 26. So there's 25 single crochet after I made that decrease. So those are the 2 types of decreases. Either stopping short or working 2 together, depending on which side you're working. So watch those as you work the pattern, which is which. I'm going to do another couple like that. And there it is stitched. Whoops. On my last one, that was 25 single crochets plus the decrease equaling 26. Alright, so now for row 7, there's another decrease right at the beginning. Just go right into that stitch, pull up a loop, next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and that's my decrease. And then another 24 single crochet. So this will total 25 stitches when I'm done at the end of the row. Again, this is row number 7. So I'm just finishing row 7. Then row 8 through 11, you're going to do this same thing. Chain 1, turn, and single crochet 23 stitches. So for this first, the 8 of the 8 through 11 rows, this first one you're going to stop short by 2. So row 7 was 25 stitches. And row 8 will be 23. So I will not work the last 2 stitches. All right, so here I'm looking. These are my last 2 stitches of the row. I will not work those. Here's stitch 22, 23, and then stop. Chain 1, turn, and repeat what I just did. 23 across again, so this is row 9. So rows 8 through 11 are these chain 1, turn, single crochet 23. So that's how you do the increases and decreases. You have to pay attention to which row you're on because this whole thing is very much a shaping project, how these stitches are worked so that you get the right, you know, these shapes of the bunny. And if you're using the free version on the website, depends what browser you're using. If the font looks kind of small, the rows are on there, but they might say, for instance, this one, rows 8 through 11. There's another one, I believe it's right around the neck where it's several rows together, or it's something like, let me look. Rows 33 to 36. They're just the same chain 1, turn, single crochet across. It comes together pretty quickly. Right, and then next I'm going to show you how to move on to the putting it together and making these sweet little flowers in there. You see my shaping coming together. Right now I'm on row 29. This is where the bunny face shaping starts. So you will have just created the long neck, and we've got to start the shaping here. So to do that, I'm going to chain 3. Currently I'm at 10 stitches and I need to go to 12 stitches. And this chain 3 will be the start of that. Right, so skip the first stitch and then start your 12 stitches from here. So there's 1 stitch, 2 stitches, and then I'll be at the body for the remaining 10 that will make this a total of 12 stitches. You see, there's my 2, go outward, and then just the 10 more across. We'll do something similar when we get up to working the ear. So that's how that is worked. And then for row 30, it's a chain 1, and then it's worked the whole length across, including those 2 new ones that were created. Now here on 31, row 31, I made another increase to the head, and I'm also going to increase in the last stitch, which will give some shaping to the back of the head. Alright, so I had my 3 stitches that increased at the beginning, and then an additional one at this last stitch. So 2 in the last, and that will take that stitch count from, where were we at, 12 to 16. So I added 3 here and 1 here. You can see again, the back of the head shape, well, in this direction it's going this way. You can see how the back of the bunny head has a little curve to it. So now I'm at row 40, and this is where you start to see the bunny ear curving backwards, just a little bit of a slant backwards. So this will work just like the face shaping did with the increases. So chain 3, and in the second from the hook, I'll work 2, so that will give me an increase of 2 on this row. I can get in there. There we go, 2, and then work into the head there. Almost done with this one. You make a second one. To put them together. So that's how those added stitches for the shaping work up at the head and ear. Alright, so I finished the bunny, and I'm going to put a stitch marker in here just to hold it, because we're going to start joining the bunnies with the same yarn, so don't cut it. However, before doing that, we need to do the decoration on the body, because once it's seamed together, you won't be able to do that. Okay, so I've started on the chocolate bunny with the little daisies. And I'm doing yellow and white on them, and just do a long thread. Just stitch it in the back like this. As you start stitching over each other, that's going to secure the yarn, so don't worry about weaving ends and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do this. Let me get my yarns that I'm going to use, and let's make the bunny pretty. So I'm throwing my project tracker. And I'm going to use multiple needles. So my center will be yellow, and I'm going to do 2 colors of flowers on the white one, pink and blue. So first I'm going to kind of map out where the flowers will be, like I did here. So I did my yellow centers first, and then I came back in with the colors. To the back, leave about 1.5 inches back there, and then just drop down once. Hold down the same row, come down a little bit. And then no tension in the back or your bunny will pucker, so leave it, you know, loose enough. You can get creative with this. I'm just going to show you how I do it in case you like the look of mine. I want to mimic that for your own bunny. Not too close to the edge. Alright, so I'm going to finish putting these on here, and then I'll show you how I do the little stars to look like daisies. Alright, so I have all my little yellow centers placed. And let's start with a pink. What I'm going to do is, I don't want to split the yarn if I can help it. So I'm always going to be working, coming up through this point, and then just starting it out. And that's all I'm doing. I'm not going all the way around because that will cover up the yellow. Right, so this one I'm going to make blue. So let's do a pink one here. That's all. It's pretty easy. It doesn't take too much time. So do that on, I would do it on both sides just so that you have a chance to, if you want to have your bunny turn a different way depending on how you're displaying it, that you have the option because it'll be pretty on both sides. Alright, and then I'll be back to show you how to start seaming it up and have your stuffing ready, because you do need to start stuffing this little area once you start putting this together, because it's going to get very snug up here. And you'll need some kind of pushing stick to help shape it and get the little, make sure the face and the back of the head get puffed out. Stuffing here on hand and the stick that comes in it, and if you have a kind that doesn't have a stick, or you lost your stick, use something else. You could even use a knitting needle, crochet needle. Just be careful you don't go through poke holes. Right, so I've lined up both sides, and of course you want to make sure that you're decorating the right side. And with the loop that's still attached, put them together and start single crocheting around. But after you've done your first few, maybe as you get to the base of the ear, you're going to start putting your stuffing in. This outside stitch is going to make it look like it came out of the chocolate mold. You know how molds have the little markings on the side? My cat got near this when I was working on it. I have long-haired white cats, which do not do well with dark yarn. Okay. Oops. Gotta make sure I get through both sides. So what I'm going to do, since I'm working down one side of the ear, actually I don't think I'll have to stuff it until I start working up this side, so let's put that on hold just a minute. Should come around pretty quickly. Going in too far. Just carefully start seaming them together. Just put all the ends, the unwoven end, just stick them right inside. Don't worry about doing anything else other than just tucking them in there. And if you have any extra trimmed ends that you want to put in there as part of your stuffing, I save mine, so I always have a little cup going where I've got ends that I've snipped. But just be careful that they're not in a spot on your stuffing that they might poke through, especially on the dark color. If you have any of those light strands showing, no, that won't be good on your chocolate bunny. White chocolate, not so much. Alright, so I'm going to start working this around, or finish working this around, and come back when I'm adding the stuffing to my bunny. Alright, I'm getting to where I'm going to want to start putting in some stuffing, because this little nook right here, I want to make sure that I get that full, and I don't want my stuffing tool to get caught in this whole transportation system look of the little flower threads. Put a little bit in there. Here's my tool. I have long skinny fingers, they might do the trick, but if you need your tool, certainly use it. There we go, he's puffing out nicely. And then as I get up here towards the nose, I'll want to do that again. Make sure I get that face filled out. And then the ears will be up at the top, so I can just work that as I get up there.